Christopher, thank you for being here with us with for the Hawak magazine. I want to ask you some questions about your work like an artist and your life too, and your way of life and your point of view. The first thing we want to know is who is Christopher Rowland?
I'm from Montana. I'm Northern Cheyenne, Tsistas, and Sutta. So I'm Northern Cheyenne and Southern Cheyenne. I'm also mixed with some Sioux. My mother was Sioux, so I guess I'm Sioux also, Oglala and Hunkpapa. And I started painting when I was very small. Started drawing when I was very, very young. And started creating when I was about 7 years old. I had, my aunt mentored me a little bit. And then I just got caught up in the beautiful motion of painting.
How is the life when you are a child at the school? They try to stimulate your artistic inclination.
Yeah, school, growing up and everything, yeah, of course, you know, when you first start growing up, you get to finger paint and do all these different activities. But then as you progress into the system, that is more or less taken away from you. So, but as a child, I was always doing something very artistic. And my family, on both sides of my family, they're all painters and artists. and so on my dad's side, there's more educators. They're more educators, and so. But for the most part, yeah, I was always doing something very creative in school.
What happened after that? You go into some kind of professional school for painters?
No, I'm not formally educated, as you would say. Right out of high school, I made a show at the college. I put together a show at the Cheap Doll Night College. And then I sought out kind of advice from different art teachers. And one art teacher, one art instructor actually, Neil Parsons, advised me not to go to school, but rather to find somebody I like to paint, like the paintings of, and mentor on them, or try to become a student and understand their work.
So did you find a mentor?
I found several different mentors, Jack Hines, Jessica Zemski, different people who could show me more about technique, and Howard Turpman. And so I did modeling, and I also did, I really paid attention to a lot of their techniques and asked a lot of questions about oil painting, and so color. With Jim Polson, I did the color. I'd asked if they liked the way he set up his compositions. So I really wanted to get into the meat of things, and I learned how color work together, complementary colors and different things like that.
How was the experience that you have in the painting work you do?
When I started selling my paintings right away, and I sold them out of a little place called the Trading Post, and different and to friends and family and different people I would sell my paintings to. But the market is very interesting, because what I realized is that in the Western art market, they kind of perceive you as history, and you're already dead. So as I tried to revive the culture through paintings of dancers and different contemporary settings, I found that this was shunned on in the Western art world. So I realized that that's not really what they wanted. they would, what happened in the Western art world is they wanted this, because I was doing realistic settings, realistic people and everything, they wanted me to follow a theme. And I couldn't really follow that theme because the theme was always about the past. So much of the past, which was okay. I mean, I like to romanticize about the past and hunting of the buffalo and everything, but I also wanted to bring forward the dances, the contemporary dances and settings today. And that just wasn't really accepted. So the art market became a little bit harder for me, so I had to do more, I had to really just do more work and express myself more and just get out there and battle with that kind of thinking.
How you perceive your history, your people's history, how you perceive the life of your ancestors when you start to painting? Do you have any particular way of paint? How your spirit talk to you to express all this?
Yeah, you're right. There is my spirit does talk to me through the energetic strands of DNA, or whatever you want to call it. Hereditarily, it moves through me, and it's not necessarily all about technique, but rather it's very spiritual, and it's more like a dance. So I would just basically evoke that, and bring that up within myself, and it comes out in the paintings. That's why you feel nostalgic, or you feel kind of there's a certain feeling to my work. It vibrates a certain way because it's very spiritual.
I understand. And what I want to ask you is, since you are Cheyenne Nation, indigenous people, how was your experience in the marketplace, like an artist, like a painter?
Well, this is kind of where, science really meets religion, or you could say science meets spirituality, or you could say spirituality meets science, kind of like the left brain, right brain thing. Since I come from a culture that is very spiritual, putting my stuff on the wall was not natural, really. But I knew that's what I had to do in order to help people to see into a culture of people that existed here long before everyone came. So what I realized in a scientific way is that every brushstroke is a signature, and every brushstroke is a frequency, and all these frequencies make up signatures of your intent, of what you want to do. It's a spiritual process when you're making paintings or making any type of artwork. With the Cheyennes, we had the Quillwork Society, we had these different art societies, but at the same time everything was art. Everything that we wore was utilitarian. Utilitarian in design and shape, and it always related back to something about creation, or the way that the Earth Mother is designed. So my tribe also moved out to the west. It came from the east. So there was, I wanted to know more about that. I was more interested in the flow of the spirit than just that section of time. So that's what I put into my artwork. It's more universal, so to speak.
Okay, so what was the experience of the Indian in the market?
Oh, the marketplace. Yeah. Being out in society and painting something that is that powerful and meaningful is not readily accepted, because it doesn't fit into a category a lot of times. So my work didn't really fit into any particular category, and as I was developing as a young artist, I realized that they wanted me to stay in that position of being a young, naive artist, just learning the trade, and there's some beauty to that. because that's basically what you end up that's what I basically ended up coming back to is that purity, that naivety in the art, purity. But what I saw on the internet and what I saw around me was that everybody wanted to, either you had to be an abstract artist as a Native American, or you had to sell your stuff for really cheap, a very, very small price. And I just didn't agree with that, because it didn't make any sense to me. Nobody had beaten into me that I was supposed to be some sort of subservient slave. Rather, I felt like my art was a message, and my art was a portrayal of the beauty that exists in all of us, you know, come out. And so right away I ran into trouble with the marketplace, and they didn't know what category they put me in. Was I a Western painter? Was I a contemporary painter? What was I? You know, they didn't know what. And when you can't categorize something, it becomes very difficult to market. Although I will say that I've had very, very lucrative years and times, and my stuff goes for a higher price now because of my 35 years of painting. So at the same time, I think I've been blackballed out of the Western art world, because I'm not painting, not so focused on painting things of the past when the buffalo ran. That's very beautiful to me, and I will continue to paint things that may touch on that and all that, but they wanted like a full-blown Native American hunting a buffalo, and they wanted to see something like that. And if they didn't see it, they would employ somebody that would. And usually that person was white, a non-native person, and their perception of what they want to sell to those collectors. I found this out right away. I started realizing that that's what it was, and it didn't have anything to do with the skill set, you know, the technique, or maybe even like some inventions, some new inventions with art. You know, that's not what it was about. So.
Because I saw on the internet a lot of painted about Native Americans, about buffalo hunting, about all this. It's a lot that I can see. Wondering if it's a lot of Indian painter.
Yeah, there's most of the painters are non-native, and they're, like I said, they're portraying what they want to buy, what they want to see Native Americans as. And I really feel like that a lot of people aren't exposed to the tribal lands, and a lot of people aren't really exposed to Native American culture as a whole. That happens a lot. When I went to New York City, just this past summer, cab drivers said, "Are you Native American?" That came up, and I was like, "Yes." And there was this talk of like, "You guys still alive? You still exist?" And I was like, "Yeah, there's all in New York. There's tribes that own this. That I shouldn't say own this land, but I should say took care of this land that you're on right now. Caretakers of this land." And so he was really surprised, and he was really happy about that, because evidently this cab driver was from Ethiopia, and he had done Native American studies. So in the education system all around, they kind of teach everybody that we're not alive anymore. So my art represents the alive, living spirit in my work. That's what is portrayed. That's what you see. That's what you see vibrating. It's life.
You know, it's romanticism about there's something that is already gone. You know, it's gone. You can remember. You can evoke. You can be beautiful thing, but it's gone.
Yeah.
You know, it's like they don't want to indigenous say, "Well, we are here, and I can paint. We are artists, and I want to paint this. This is the life I'm living now."
Yeah.
Even if I have my memories, but what matters now is the life what I'm living now, and the life what I want to live, right? Do you feel that you have to do another way?
Well, you know, a lot of my work touches on the past and the present, but it touches on a different way. It's like you take a buffalo. I'll take a painting of a buffalo, and it's right there, and you're receiving the spirit that I'm like trying to portray, and you're feeling it. People feel that. That's why they buy my work, is because they feel what's in the painting, and they look at it and they experience it. It's not just simply a cowboys and Indians type of thing, you know. But yes and no. I think that with my art, I can move it a step further in our understanding of who we are as Native people also, because people who see my work and are inspired by it, who are Native American, they'll say, man, I can do that, you know. I can do something like that. If he could do it, then I can do it. So that kind of gets the juices, the creative juices flowing. But also, I think that I have something to offer Indigenous people in the way that of support in this. I don't necessarily feel that art should be all political, but yet my art has become political in some way, shape, or form. Simply just the fact that I'm creating what I do makes a statement, and in the Western art world, if they don't want to see that, then there's a shunning process that happens. So I've been shunned for a number of years out of the Western art world because I'm not painting those things that they want me to paint. Rather, I paint the aliveness of our ancestors. I paint the beauty of the contemporary dancers, portraits of living people. Or if I take something from the past, I bring it to the living, the life. You know?
And how was the life for you, like a painter, in the economical level? Were we able to survive, to make living with your work like a painter?
Yes. I've been able to make a living in the past, gather collectors that love my work. It's more of a struggle, I'd say, financially, but that's not where I come from. I'm not from the financial world. I don't come from facts and figures. I come from the spiritual world, so this means nothing to me, you know. The Creator provides for what I do. I will say right now that it's all about. It has a lot to do what I've discovered in my artwork and the struggles of putting my stuff up on the wall, having shows, receiving money or receiving no money, whatever it is it's all about the spirit of victimization. It's all about the curse. Now, if I can do my art and proceed in my art making and get exposure like I have, then this says that, number one, it says to the indigenous nations here that I haven't given up, number one. And number two, that I could do this. Number three, that the spirit isn't dead. Because I really believe that they're trying to kill the spirit of art, of creativity, of beauty, of working with your hands. In the education system, it's really not something that is looked at as good. If you're an artist, you're considered like a beggar or nothing, you know, unless you get into those certain circles where they say this is the art to buy. You see what I'm saying?
In order to get into the market, right?
Yeah.
And you have to choose to promote. And when they choose, they require to you to work in some way that they say they can sell it, right?
Yeah. Usually they have a category, they want consistency. And a lot of that is really good on it works well on a business in a business level, or on a business level, but for as far as creativity goes, and inventing and discovering, and that joy of being a human being, it kills that. It kills that spirit inside of a person. Not just with native artists, but artists all around. And you see a lot of this really gruesome art now, and you see a lot of this depressing, dark art, and they consider that the art. If you look around at the flowers, that's not depressing and dark, If you look at the trees, you don't see depressing and dark. If you look at the clouds, you don't see depressing and dark. You look at all the colorful birds, you don't see depressing and dark. This is all art. Life is art. You know what I'm saying? It's uplifting, art should be beautiful, And so that's kind of what I see in the art world is kind of like, okay, you've got these little structures of things and little splashes of creativity, but really that's not what they want. I consider this my country, this is my land, and if I want to paint paintings that make people cry and smile and it's beautiful, I have every right to,
Yeah.
Because it's just like I'm tired of all the crap that's in, that they brought onto our land. It's dark and depressing, and just go back to Europe or wherever you came to, wherever you came with it. And that's the beauty of being an artist also, is you can talk to the kings and you can talk to the paupers. You have the freedom. If you're an artist and you truly see that within yourself, and we're all artists, if you see that, then you can do so many things, so many beautiful things.
Yeah, that's the important thing for us, like indigenous people, because for a long time they put us away from the art label. So
Yes.
the indigenous, usually for them, they don't do art. They do handcrafts, but they don't do art. They was under value, And even if you do the beautiful works, I remember when I saw in Cusco in the church, beautiful painting for the Catholic church, right? Who is paint this? They say, oh, what's indigenous? Who is paint this? What's this person, Yeah. So again, what we're talking about is about the identity, how important is the identity, and we like indigenous, we are able to understand that we can do whatever we want to do, and we can do good, we can do well, and we can raise him with personally, in the community level or the nation level. But we have to do that. That's the freedom we're talking about, the freedom to be responsible and creative, right?
Yes, I like that, the freedom to be responsible, because it's like, it's within us. We are art. We are art forms. Even if you go back to the Bible, Adam comes from Adamah, which means the deep red dark earth, or Dhamma comes from the dark red earth, and the red earth is more of a brown. It's not like a real piercing red like of other different paints or pigments. It's a darker brown.
Indian red.
Yes. Yeah, it's like this, or it even gets a little bit darker, kind of like a clay, like the clay.
Yeah.
A terracotta, similar to that. But you'll see that. And anyway, but what I was going to say is like, that is art. We are art. We're vessels. We're earthen vessels. We can create things. We can do anything. The curse that was put on us is that we can't do these things. That we're not capable of doing these things, and we will be subservient slaves to those who can do those things. That's not true. We are those things. So I don't pay attention to the programming, any of the programming that says I can't create. And 35 years of making art proves this, And putting my stuff up on the wall. Am I good enough to put my stuff up on the wall? You know, that was the whole big thing. Am I good enough to call myself an artist? That was the breakthrough for me. And I realized that somebody else was telling me that I wasn't what I was. Somebody else was telling me, no, you can't call yourself an artist yet. You're not really making a living at it, you know. But it doesn't make any sense. We are artists even if we don't make a living at it. It doesn't matter. I mean, we are living if we are creating, let's put it that way. We are making a living if we are creating because that is life. How about that?
Yeah, that's the way to see it, right?
Yeah.
And also, when we are all this feeling creative, we also are able to think about our next generation, you know? Think about the children that's coming. Are you able to think to be teacher or make some work for teaching to the next generations?
Yes, I'm a mentor for the children of the next generation. I'm a mentor because if I can get through to them and say, this is who you are, check it out, check it out. You don't have to buy into the programming. You are not an automaton. You are not a slave. You're not hypnotized. Hello, wake up, you know? And I can reverse that somehow. And I do. I mean, I talk to children about that, get them into their arts and get them into their truth, you know? In fact, I started an organization called the American Tribes Project. And it's kind of had its rocky roads a little bit because it's a 501c3 here in the United States. I started it back in Europe, but I figured, you know, might as well just, you know, do the 501c3 here in the United States.
That's the law for the non-profit organization?
Yes. And so we designed a big school. I worked with a local architect here in Charlottesville. It's all there. Everything is there to help children become who they are. Help not just children, but also young adults who are just anybody actually. We can all become children, but to be able to help them to revive the spiritual process of art making, the creativity, and to bring all of the cultures back in. Because I feel like the children are an integral part now in our the reviving of this in a totally complete different way, because the old way was lost. But there's some of the things of the old way are now connected to new understandings that will bring us together as children of the Creator. You know, and so, you know, when I came off the reservation, there were aspects of people I didn't even understand. I didn't know that people just like live separately from each other to not even care about each other or to not say hi, you know? I didn't understand that. I didn't understand that if somebody didn't have $20, that they didn't share it with the other person. Because that was just a common thing to do. I mean, like on the reservation, everybody survives, and if somebody has like $20 and somebody has, you know, everybody just kind of shares if they can. Then this disease came in of like, let's not sharing. I think that's just so wrong, you know. The disease came out of let's you know, let's keep everything and let's be greedy and let's not like put it out there. That's a disease to me, and that's a disease of the mind, the heart, and spirit. And once the children realize this is not a good thing to be diseased like that, then I think that's when change is really going to start to happen on a bigger level, you know, of knowledge.
Yeah, because the children, I think they are this purity of the spirit that if you leave them free, they can realize they can do a lot, you know? They can really be creative. And when they are creative, when they can really feel the spirituality, they can really conduct in the human way with all these qualities to be care about the others, human beings, relative, family, whoever, right?
Yeah.
And they keep this way of living. All this spirituality that the kids have inside was crushed in the school. I I think the school system crushing the liberty of the kids, and at the same time they crushing the spirituality of the kids. And they impose the rules and belief system that, unfortunately, belief system has nothing to do with the spirituality. It just imposes one way to believe, and they have to accept the rules in order to survive. That's really the tragedy happened with the kids. I think the art give us the opportunity not only to teach techniques or ability, it's take back the freedom.
Yes.
And if they can do it, they can grow a racing really high and be all successful can be together with their people, with human beings. Right?
Yes, and the thing about it is the empowerment of doing art. You become empowered. You feel empowered. It's good for your spirit. It's good for your soul. It's so powerful. It's a connection to the Creator. And that is rich. That's what riches are. Because if you don't know yourself, then you become very, very poor in your heart. There's nothing there. When you're searching for yourself outside of yourself, you're looking to gods, you're looking to all this stuff, to satiate what's already inside of you. And if that connection is not there, then you become a very, very poor and destitute person. But if you can understand that, connect just a little bit into your truth and your connection to all things, you become the wealthiest person. So basically the marketplace for me was a sad experience, but it was a good place to learn where my riches really come from.
Yeah.
What are true riches,
Yeah, because many people think they want more things, they can buy it, they are rich. They have emptiness in this soul,
Yeah.
They don't have this plenty life of the spiritual connection with the other, with the nature and the others. You are empty and I think it is, you really live sad life, right?
Yeah.
Now I start to understand what means depression.
Yeah. Yeah, because, and it's like a disconnect from yourself. But you know what that, because we can all create, we all do something, we're all meant to do something. Either together or even for a part, we're together. The Cheyennes had no word for goodbye. It was only kind of like, see you later, And then also I was going to challenge every Christian, like what you were saying with all of that artwork in that Catholic church, and the cathedral or whatever, all that beautiful artwork done by the enslaved indigenous people there, tribal people there from your land. I challenge every Christian to understand who they are, what art is. To look at on this continent, in the United States, and to look at how many people, were killed. 150 million people. And I don't just blurt this number out. I'm not one to do that, right? People's got to do a little bit of research, but 150 million people that were systematically decimated from this continent in the name of Jesus Christ. I challenge every Christian to look at that and to really try to figure out what that is. Try to take responsibility, personal responsibility for that. Because we are the children of the Creator on this continent and in the South. We're all children of the Creator.
What you can say to this, all our brothers and sisters in the continent, like a message, what to do in this situation in order to raise him and get back our liberty and grind together?
Learn what it is in your particular, well, there's several things. Get into art, first of all, work with your fingers, sound, singing, whatever that is in your tradition. Work with your hands, your art, the building, whatever it needs to be, And enjoy the moment around you. And because if you enjoy the moment around you, then it'll spread out. It ripples. It ripples. And you know, there are phones, there are computers, you can get and talk to people about traditions, but to celebrate and be proud of who you are. It was told that you were bad and wrong, and that this color of the skin was wrong. That's, you know, this color of the skin is beautiful, you know, it's of the earth, and to celebrate that, and to realize that that's the only way that's going to survive. That's the way of the ancients, and that's the way of today, and that's the only thing that's going to survive is the earth, you know. I mean, in the end, because that's what I would say. One of the things I would say is, I'd have to say, art, realize who you are, and that realization is through the making, the arts. I don't really have to tell too many people in the indigenous world that they are loved, because they are loved, right? But, and I don't have to say that it's about greed. I would say probably in their own tradition, learn about faith, or this understanding, this connection, the knowing that the days are coming when their way of life, their way of understanding, this love, this sharing, this cooking, this doing the arts, all of this is will come back, and everybody will be connected on that level. You know, nobody's going to be disconnected anymore. It's prophesied that everybody will be connected. Everything will come to fruition. All this like pain right now is very temporary. We're at the end of the, we're in the beginning of something new now. We've already gone to the old. We've gone through the old age. So from what I understand, every 600 years was called the Great Day. After the 600 years and all the constellations came back to the same thing, it was called the Great Day. And that's where we're headed now.
Thank you, Chris, to be with you, and I hope we can keep working together like indigenous people for the freedom.
Thank you.